Alright, we got some majestic hawk riders in the desert, flying high. Whole new world of arrows. A whole new world of arrows raining down on you. You won't see it coming, it's coming for you. All you angry Bretonians over here. So yeah, this is xBenv0liox, here with a Wood Elf army high up on another desert hill, on another hill. Didn't go so well for me this time though, but let's quickly take a look at the army breakdowns and get into this video. So I'm playing against blanekieng, I think is the player's name here. He's rocking a Bretonian army. Let's take a look at his army starting on his left flank. He's got a group of Knights of the Realm. Let's put the info on. Armored and shielded anti-large. So anti-large good against my monsters, and I do have monsters, so I'm going to want to try and keep them away, but he ended up putting them on a pretty good flank there. So two groups of those, Knights of the Realm. Knights of the Realm. With his Lord Albrecht de Bordelaux, who I believe is rocking some crazy offensive abilities. I'm pretty sure it's him that casts some like kind of water spell later on in the battle, but we'll see. He's got his Wicked Trident, his remodeled thing that was like their big patches. Like, we fixed his trident, and it was a big deal because he used to have a sword, and I was like, wow, really exciting. You gave him a trident. It's like Malibu Stacy getting the new hat or something. Anyway, Albrecht de Bordelaux, two groups of Knights of the Realm on the left flank. Front line, he's got four groups of these Battle Pilgrims. Let's take a closer look at these guys. Yeah, kind of angry. They're angry because they're bald, and they hold shields upside down. But they're like they're shielded and they have frenzy, so they're mid-tier, decent infantry. You're gonna be good against bottom-tier infantry, obviously. And while their morale is high, they're gonna be more effective. That's what that frenzy stat means. But let's take a quick look at the knights, because we didn't really get a closer look at their models really quick. These are the Knights of the Realm. This is Bretonian Knights here, looking nice and shiny. Eh? There we go. Just want to give you guys a closer look at those guys over there. Right behind the front line, we got the Damsel here. Damsel of Life, so able to cast healing spells, regrowth spells, positive buffs on her enemies as well as on her friends, as well as some offensive magic against me, including an explosion, a couple explosion and a area of effect spell. And she's on a horse, so she's gonna be nice and mobile. So she's gonna be a prime target if I can ever get my sights on bringing down the damsel. He's got at the back spearmen at arms, shields, one on each flank, I believe. Yeah, bottom tier infantry, but with shields, so arrows gonna be less effective thanks to those shields, unless I can get them, shoot them in the back. Yeah, running away, etc. So he's got one of those on each flank at the back line. Good choice there, I'd say, putting the spearman on the outside of the back line. It's a good place for him. Peasant bowman, he's got three groups. They're all standard variant. They also come in the fire arrow and pox arrow. So poisonous and fire, flaming arrows, same as the Glade Guard, but less, well, just less good. They're don't have armor piercing. They're good range and they're expendable, so they're cheap, cheap archers basically. Peasant archers. Well, yeah, kind of explains it, doesn't it? Got a back another group of spearmen at arms with shields at the back. So they are shielded. They do have anti-large as well. So he's got three groups of those in total. Charge defense against large foes. So that's a pretty decent place to have them, kind of keeping them in reserve. And at the very back, he's got the Beast Slayers of Bastogne. These are basically monster hunters. Well, it goes with their name, Beast Slayers. So they are anti-large. So they are and armor piercing. So you're going to want to bring them against monsters, because they also have charge defense against large foes. So against cavalry and monsters, they don't take much of a beating. So they got kind of their red and yellow garb there. All right, and then also at the back, he's got a group of knights errant. They're armored and shielded and anti-infantry. Yep, look at that. I think they're a little less frilly, so you can even see some of their faces. But there they are, knightsy, knightsy, knights with all their nice shields, all colorful. And finally, over here on the right flank, what's he got? A lot of cavalry, obviously. Bretonia being Bretonia, more knights, knights errant. Anti-infantry, two more groups of those, I believe. And, and a regiment of renown here, the Defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis. Shock cavalry, armored and shielded, anti-infantry with frenzy. So same as the Battle Pilgrims, they're going to do better while their morale is up. So you're going to want to kind of keep them in good condition. That's kind of, look, they got a blue and white going on, I guess, to mark them as distinct from the colorful knights around them. Alright, so that's his army, I believe. I've pretty much covered it. And, yep. So that's what he's bringing against me. Now let's take a look at what the Wood Elves are bringing. As I said earlier, I got some hawks. I tried to make use of them here. They're tricky to find a good use for though, because they do have armor-piercing melee, but not armor-piercing arrows. So they're really good at flying around. They're very fast and very mobile, and just death from above. So they're kind of untouchable to melee units. So you can really just harass melee units. But their arrows don't seem very effective. And their melee is good. I like being able to drop them on melee onto artillery crews and stuff. But if there's spears or anything anti-large on the ground around your targets, they're kind of frail. Compared to that, even though they do have armor piercing. So ideally armored targets. I don't think I really knew that during the game, or else I probably would have used them differently. Probably brought them in against the knights. This may be a recent an update I missed, or something I missed about them, but realizing it now, I probably would have used them a bit differently than I did. Other ways, I tried to make a go of them here. They did do some interesting things, getting on top of archers whenever possible. Was slightly effective, and it was interesting. They made things interesting, that's for sure. So 2 groups of them, 1 on each flank. Main line, left flank, war dancers with Azrai spears. So anti-large. I figured I'd be dealing with knights, so these guys would be good, and they're fairly mobile. Got dodge, so they're kind of good. I want to be able to bring them up against the knights and use them to kind of run around, run cover for the archers, because those spears are going to help them against the knights. When I saw use Bretonnia, I didn't even bother with cavalry, because I know when you're up against Bretonnia, like, they're gonna just be dominating the cavalry. That's what they're all about. So I'm like, all right, can't really outdo them at that. So I decided to go with the well, archers. Go with my strength. So holding them with archers. So using shields, shielded spears, hold the enemy in place, hit them with armor-piercing missiles, as is the usual plan with Wood Elves. So I've got to that effect Eternal Guard with shields. I've got 4 groups of them, and then Glade Guard in the back. We'll get to them in a minute. So they're anti-large. They're going to be able to absorb that charge from the knights with their charge defense, and just kind of hold them in place, and also deal decently with the infantry. But he was pretty good in that he brought swords. So swords are, I think, decent against spears. I don't really know. Maybe more effective. War dancers, Azrai spears on the other group there. So that's the front line, basically making a nice kind of U shape. Wanting to absorb anything he's going to throw at me. Trying to make play as defensively as possible there. So that's the front line. Over there I have the other group of Hawk Riders, and let's check them out. The Treekin. They identify as tree, and they are half tree and half kin, as I always say. Some of them have delightful little faces. Yeah, look at this. Aren't you? Oh, it's like a skull. I thought it was, no, okay, so maybe not the cutest little faces. Anyway, they're, Forest Spirit, armored charge defense against large foes, so armor-piercing enemies are not going to be good for them. I think he's got a couple of his knights as well with anti-large, which is also going to give them an advantage fighting the Treekin. But for dealing with infantry and just, again, holding things in place, they're good, kind of creating a solid wall as much as possible. And I put them off to the side because it can kind of forces knights to choose. I'm going to try and split up their attention. So if they choose the close with the infantry, I'll bring the Treekin down on top of the cavalry. But if they chose with the cavalry closes with the Treekin, well, that just takes pressure off my infantry, and I can be more mobile, make more choices with my infantry army. So kind of spacing them out like that was kind of trying to split his attention as much as possible. But he dealt with it. But it ended up playing to the way he deployed his anti-large knights over there with Alberic. So he had kind of had that countered right from the beginning, which he took advantage of immediately, and the other group of Hawk Riders backline really quickly. So kind of going over this thing like I don't know, back and forth like a printer, I guess. I don't know, printing out the narrative here. God, I'm ridiculous. Blade Guard, Hagbane tips, poison attacks, good range, not armor piercing though, so not ideal against those knights, but going to negatively affect any infantry they hit with arrows. And 1 Ruth Starfire Shafts. These guys are good against knights because of their armor-piercing missiles, able to pierce those armored knights and just add up the damage if you can get them focus firing. And 2 Glade Guard with Starfire Shafts in the center. On the flanks of the back line, we have the Hagbane tips, the poison arrows. And then in the very back line, we have a group of War Dancers with the swords. Just to plug any gaps with the frontline infantry. I've already got my spears on the flanks. Maybe spears would have been better in the back, but I decided to go with the double swords in the back and use the spears in the flanks. I don't know. It had its advantages, its disadvantages. I've got my Waystalker, again, as in like the last video guys I uploaded. Same kind of combo Waystalker. Vanguard deployment, duelist, master ambusher, so if I can isolate a hero with him, that's good. He's also able to fire with, doesn't have armor piercing missiles, but he still does pretty decent damage. What's his range damage at? 190. Missile damage 434. Holy cow. Yeah, so he does a decent amount of damage. What about this fella? What about me Glade Lord? 389 missile damage. But he's the deep necessary commander, so similar status to the little bit better. I think a little more HP. 3908 and yeah, slightly more HP than the Waystalker. But yeah, and that's my army. And so let's get this thing going. See how it plays out. So, right at the beginning, neither of us want to move. Well, I think neither of us want to move, but he's already moving out. What am I talking about? I wouldn't want to move from that position, though. I like to fight sitting on my butt. Make them come to me, which is why I'm trying to tease with the Hawk Riders now, harass as they advance, but he's just going right in for it, apparently. Oh, something fell off the table there. Oh yeah, sorry. But he's just going right in for it. Knights coming up the flanks. I'm trying to find I want to get in and take a few shots at his infantry, but I don't want to come in range of his archers. Because I don't want I want to kind of preserve my Hawk Riders as much as possible, to have them flying around as much as possible. Armor piercing missiles would just be so good with Hawk Riders. I think they'd be too OP if they had armor piercing missiles though, so that's why, because like it's like tickling the knights basically, their arrows, without that armor piercing, and it's tickling things with shields. So, but I get some. That's what I want. I want his just to be able to attack without any chance of him getting back at me. Prompt him to advance and just take advantage of the flying capabilities of the Hawk Riders to try and sink in any damage I can, and I get tiny little chunks of damage. Tiny little chunks of damage. And but I don't want the archers to get any shots at them, so I'm pulling them back, trying to keep them out of range of his archers until his archers can be, distracted. Want to get them, want them to be focusing on a lot more. I want them to come to me, right? It's the main idea. So he's moved his cavalry around a bit, and it looks like what's he bringing up in the back? He's bringing the Knights of the Realm with the anti-large up in the back. Let's turn that off though. With Bordelaux, with Albrecht Bordelaux, excuse me. I guess I could just call him Bordelaux. His battle pilgrims are advancing in a line, kind of straightforward. Archers and spears advancing slowly behind him, along with the halberds in the back, beast slayers. There's a group of knights coming up the center, and his two anti-infantry groups right up the right flank. So, and I've pulled out my Lord and my Waystalker to see if I can snipe some shots, and I think I see his damsel has come up, and I'm going to try and take some shots with the Waystalker. And you'll see that the Waystalker does some pretty decent damage. So my Glade Lord and my Waystalker, I just want to be sniping his hero units. That's the idea with them. So I'm going to just take a couple shots here. Put a little damage into the damsel. Put a little damage into the damsel. He's realized what's going on. He's pulled her back. Because maybe, he wants to cast a spell on my army or whatever, but I don't want that happening. Or maybe it was bait. He was trying to bait out my archers to try and hit her. Juicy target, but I had a singular unit that was able to do that. Hawk Riders still harassing his right flank. Not quite sure what to do, because wouldn't be able to trade effective damage with the knights, because those archers, if they got in some shots, they'd be doing some more damage to the Hawk Riders. So I want those archers to be shooting at something else before I bring Hawk Riders in to shoot at anything. Just because of the limited effectiveness of the Hawk Rider arrows. So there was an arrow of Kurnos. You saw that green beam shooting out, nicking a group of archers. Not doing too much, sadly. Can typically do more, but it's better for single targets. But the Waystalker's still shooting it out. One guy shooting at army. Hey, yeah, you want some, come get some. So now he's taken the bait, finally. This is what I want. Or it's what he wanted the whole time. So he's trying a driving wedge with his knights, but I'm raining archer pain on him. Which, sustained, if I could keep it sustained, would do decent amount of damage to that armor piercing. So, but I have the charge defense against large foes in the whole front line. It looks like, though, he's charging with the main line, and while my attention's divided, he's charging the treekin over here. Oh, no, but I see it coming in because I give the attack order. The Hawk Riders firing into the Knights of the Realm. Treekin charging against them, along with Albrecht de Bordelaux. War Dancers coming out to help them. Now, if I'd known the Hawk Riders were armor piercing, I definitely would have charged them into melee. The War Dancers with spears against the Knights, not ideal. Not ideal at all. The swords against the Knights, no. Would have wanted the spears in that situation, but I got them on the Knights over here, so maybe my own strategy worked against me. I couldn't have those units closer together. So the lines are about to collide. The Battle Pilgrims colliding with the Eternal Guard. Spears and swords clashing. Human and elves clashing. And somewhere there's a bug man saying, good, good. Yeah, oh no, the War Dancers took a lot of damage from those Knights, not good. And he's able to get around with the spears, not good. If he can get those around into my archers, not good. So I'm bringing down the Hawk Riders over here to attack the archers, which is what the most useful thing they did. I'm pulling them out to attack another group, having brought up the spears against the Knights, who only managed to do a little bit of damage and did quite a number on the Treekin, which is unfortunate. So that really went his way. So it's going his way so far, but it's still close enough that I don't want to give up if I can just get the right positions and angles and hold off his Knights. But the thing is, he's bringing back spears to deal with the Hawk Riders. I'm going to want to get out of that. That's not going to be good for them. He could have probably killed those Hawk Riders if he charged into them, but he seems to be more focused on the infantry engagement. Maybe a good idea, but I'm able to bring down my Treekin and my Spear Dancers from the top of the hill. Kind of that was the purpose. I'd be able to kind of close the trap. If his Knights get bogged down in my infantry, I can come up behind, unless I'm just attack moving, which was not a good idea. But sometimes all that micro is hard. You just want to get them to attack something, and then you have to leave it. You have to focus on other things. So Beast, there's a Baston coming against the Hawk Riders. Going to do a number. That's where they're going to be doing a very good job. Sending off those Hawk Riders on both sides. Defending his archers. Still able to fire him with a central group, so not good. My front line's still doing decently, but buckling now under infantry pressure. Got these War Dancers in the back. I'm going to trying to bring them into Knights. Yes, if I can just close the trap on the Knights. He's charged into the back, though, so this is a nightmare. His Knights have just kind of gotten in everywhere into the back line, messed up the archers. So just not good. I've got some decent strength in the center. This group of War Dancers is at full health, so now that they've cornered the defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis, they might be able to take them down. Poison arrows hitting them, but not effective. So yeah, Glade Guard getting those armor-piercing shots on the Knights, which is good, forcing them out, but they're able to just push through, unfortunately. I couldn't hold them in place. They're slipping through me like rainwater through a gate, sadly. The Hawk Riders back at something, though. I don't know what they're fighting there. They're fighting some Knights, I think. Or archers? I don't know. But they're back into the fray. The tree can have joined the main line. But he's still got archers able to fire in. Not good. Bringing in more battle pilgrims that have routed. And I've got these two groups that have drawn off a group of Eternal Guard, which would have been much better down here. But should have been more defensive and conservative. Try to circle around the archers instead of chasing after the Knights. Should have just given up on that group and brought these ones in, but oh well. What can you do? Arrows firing in, though. The Battle Pilgrims heavily depleted, now getting poisoned. Azurai Spears going up against the Spears and Shields, which is a decent match for them. And then backed up with the Treekin, I thought, okay, maybe I can take this at this point. The Hawks are still active, but this was not good. I left them in a very bad spot, unfortunately. If I'd have microed them better and kept them on the archers, that would have gone much better. Unfortunately, they were really depleted by those spears, and then in turn the archers, they could get a shot on them. But the center here, in terms of the infantry, I've got the infantry, but it's the Knights that are going to decide this, and I'm still trying to chase off this. Who is this? The Knights of the Realm. And Knights Errant. One group of Knights of the Realm wants one Knights Errant with the Eternal Guards with shields. Like, if I could just catch them. But of course, that's not going to happen. Alberic de Bordelaux is on my Lord. Oh, and he just cast a mighty nasty spell, but it hit his own dudes because I managed to pull back my my infantry. Azurai Spears charging into the Knights. Where are they? No, bring them against the Spears. Not good. Knights Errant. Maybe not an ideal matchup against the Treekin, but the Treekin are taking a lot of abuse. They need backup. Oh, and I'm trying to snipe down his Lord, getting some shots. He's still chasing my Glade Lord. Not going to be good for my Glade Lord, even though my Glade Lord's a duelist. I don't think. War Dancers back here. The Hawk Riders coming back in, desperate, but oh, look at, not in a good place. That Hawk's going to get brought down. Oh, or not. He's going to do a little spin kick. But they're definitely going to bring him down. The Hawks in the back. Chasing off the archers, that's more, yeah, Let's just watch some hawks chasing peasants. Rah! You make me go catch your food, eh? Alright, so here we go. But the knights in the back. And still have a group of spears to kind of hold them off a bit. 2 groups of spears, but if they're gonna get locked in. He's got enough infantry to threaten my infantry, so I have to support them. I have to support the treekins, so I'm drawing my infantry into. Everything's kind of coming into the center, and his knights are just up on that slope going like, yes, converge for me. Converge. And he's just tooling me here with these knights. I'm not able to do anything. Way Watchers would have been really good. Arrow of Kurnos against Alberic, but it's not enough to save my Glade Lord, who's pretty much done. And it missed him entirely, so. And now the knights are going to be charging downhill, getting a really juicy charge in there. Hawk Riders are coming up to try and help this blob in the center. Charging into the swords, the battle pilgrims, and that's slightly better for them than dealing with spears, but still not going to be enough because in come the knights. And that's done a fair amount of damage. And I think there's going to be a second group coming in. And that's kind of what's going to finally deplete me. Here he goes. Oh, downhill slope into my Eternal Guard. Ah! They're going flying, and that's basically it for me. It was a good game, even though I lost, but it was a great game because it kept it was just going the whole time. It was go 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 go. All right, let's see the kill count. Who did the most in terms of kills? So the Hawk Riders, 64 and 98 respectively. Okay, you can tell they were kind of the unit I was thinking about. I wish they'd been more effective. I feel like most of that was probably done in melee against the archers. Treekin 41, not perfect. Add the war dancers, that's right, spears. 169, 106, so they seem to be the MVPs of the day there. Yeah, but only middling numbers on everything else. 98 on this group of Hawk Riders, so good for you, I guess. But let's see. So he had a bigger army by a few unit slots. Knights of the Realm, 105 kills, seemed to do the most. 137 there with his Knights Errant. So the Knights did a lot of the work. But it otherwise 64, 56, 12. But it otherwise seems to be fairly well spread out amongst his units. Alberic de Bordelaux getting 25. But yeah, that's that. His cavalry's too much for me. Got around me. Couldn't keep him off my hill with arrows this time. Anyway, this is xBenv0lio, having played against blanekieng. I guess it's got an E now. You know, keep it real, boys. The boys.